Welcome back to The Explainer. Okay, today we are unpacking a story that honestly sounds like pure Hollywood fiction, but I promise you it is 100% real. We are looking at the life of a seemingly ordinary woman who achieved something absolutely extraordinary. And she did it all while hiding in plain sight. I mean, just imagine working a standard 9-to-5 administrative job your entire life, riding the subway, packing a brown bag lunch, and quietly building an absolute empire without anyone even noticing. Okay, let's dive into this. $9 million. Just take a second to really let that number sink in. We're not talking about the net worth of a tech CEO who just went public or some crazy lottery winner. This staggering figure was the final net worth of a legal secretary. A secretary. So how on earth does a woman on a modest administrative salary amass a $9 million fortune completely under the radar? Well, that is exactly the mystery we're going to solve today. And when I say she built this under the radar, I mean literally nobody knew. Not a single soul. In fact, her niece, who was also the executor of her estate, Jane Lockshin, actually called the reading of Sylvia's will an "oh my God" moment. Her closest family members, her friends, her coworkers, they were all just utterly shocked. This massive wealth was a total secret, completely hidden right behind the facade of a very, very unassuming life.
So how did she pull it off? Part 1. The modest commuter.
To really wrap our heads around this secret, we first have to examine the stark reality of her day-to-day life. For decades, Sylvia lived in the exact same rent-controlled apartment in the Flatbush neighborhood of Brooklyn. She rode the public subway every single day. She packed her own lunch. Yet every single day, she was commuting to Cleary Gottlieb Steen in Hamilton, which is a massively prestigious, high-wealth Wall Street law firm. So she was living this incredibly frugal, low-cost life while swimming daily in an elite ocean of high finance.
You know, to understand why she lived this way, you've got to look at her roots. Born right around 1919 in Brooklyn to Eastern European immigrants, Sylvia grew up right in the teeth of the Great Depression. And that era fundamentally shaped her relationship with money and security. For her, waste was simply not an option. She had this incredible work ethic, hustling to attend night classes at Hunter College just to earn her degree. She did eventually marry Raymond Margulies, but the couple never had children, and she maintained this incredibly disciplined, frugal mindset for her entire life.
Which brings us to where things get really fascinating. Part 2, the piggyback strategy.
Because, let's be real, frugality alone doesn't organically grow into $9 million. The secret here was the brilliant simplicity of her approach, what we'll call the piggyback method. See, Sylvia didn't hire some fancy financial advisor, and she definitely wasn't spending her evenings poring over stock charts. Instead, she captured smart money signals from the highly informed, highly paid Wall Street lawyers she worked for. She simply replicated their personal investment choices, but at a much smaller scale that mathematically fit her secretary's salary. Here is a step-by-step breakdown of her exact fee-free process. Step 1. Observe the boss's stock purchase. Now keep in mind, back in that era, secretaries often managed their boss's personal affairs, and that included executing their personal stock trades. So step 2. When her boss bought a stock, she would just buy the exact same stock for herself, just in a smaller amount. If they bought a massive block of shares, she might just buy 5 or 10. And then step 3. Hold for decades. She essentially just rode the coattails of proven, knowledgeable professionals who had already done the heavy research.
But the absolute wildest part of all this is how quietly she pulled it off. I mean, she never discussed her portfolio with anyone. Ever. Even after she got married, she kept her accounts solely in her own name. And behind that modest, unassuming secretary persona, she was secretly managing funds across 3 different brokerage houses and maintaining accounts at 11 different banks. It's actually staggering to think about the quiet financial acumen required to manage a portfolio of that complexity without ever breathing a word of it to a single soul.
But wait, there's a missing piece to this puzzle. Part 3, 67 years of compounding.
We've seen the piggyback strategy, right? And we've seen the frugality. But the real multiplier here, the secret sauce, is her timeline. Let's trace this out. Sylvia was born in 1919. She joined that Wall Street firm in 1947 as one of its early employees. And guys, here is the truly jaw-dropping part. She worked there continuously until she finally retired in 2014. She was 96 years old. She passed away shortly after in 2016. But that massive 67-year gap between joining the firm and retiring, that gave her piggyback investments uninterrupted decades to just snowball.
And this is such a foundational lesson for all of us.
67 years of steady, relentless saving and investing, that beats high income or genius market timing every single time. Sylvia absolutely did not need to be a stock-picking prodigy. She just needed consistency combined with zero lifestyle inflation. I mean, as her wealth grew into the millions, she didn't suddenly upgrade to a penthouse apartment. She just kept taking the subway from Flatbush. Time, consistency, and compounding interest literally did all the heavy lifting.
So where did it all go? That leads us to our final chapter, Part 4, A Quiet Philanthropic Legacy.
Think about it. If you spend your entire life pretending you aren't a multi-millionaire, what happens to the money when you're gone? Well, when Sylvia passed away, her will finally revealed the answer. A staggering $6.24 million went to the Henry Street Settlement, a nonprofit down on the Lower East Side. Just to put that into perspective, this was the absolute largest single individual gift in the entire 125-year history of that organization. Another roughly $2 million went to Hunter College and other scholarships, with the remaining slivers going to friends, family, and a few other causes.
But the why behind this donation, that's what is so genuinely beautiful. That massive $6.24 million gift was used to create the Bloom Margolis Scholarship Fund, specifically designed to empower underprivileged students through the Expanded Horizons College Success Program. Sylvia used her secret wealth to give marginalized students the exact same educational opportunities that she had to hustle and scrape for at night school back in the Great Depression. Her incredible journey of wealth came full circle.
So as focused learners, what is the real takeaway for us here? How do we apply this masterclass to our own lives? Well, first, piggyback on smart money. You don't have to be a financial genius. You can follow proven strategies or index funds. Second, practice consistency over decades. Third, live below your means and fiercely resist lifestyle inflation. Fourth, let the power of compounding work for you by starting early and holding long. And finally, remember that true wealth doesn't need to be flashy. Usually the loudest person in the room is rarely the wealthiest.
Sylvia Bloom proved, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that you can quietly build an absolute empire entirely from the background and use it to radically change the world long after you're gone. Which leaves me with one final thought for you to ponder today. If you had 67 years to silently build your wealth, what legacy would you choose to leave behind?